G'day mates, and welcome back to Aldrin's Space Program Manager Buzzhard mode. Now, it's been a long time, I seem to be saying that nearly every single episode, but it is a fairly legitimate reason this time. I've had some instability with the save files, unfortunately. It happened sort of last time, I can't remember how many episodes I recorded, but the last 2 or 3 I think I did in a batch, and there was a bit of a break before that batch started, and that's had a bit of a save issue, so I was sort of tinkering with the save file to try to restore any corrupted files. It's fairly simple in the grand scheme of things, but this time, for some reason, the save went really gnarly, and I thought I'd lost it. So I wouldn't say recreated the save, but it's the original save, but it's just had a lot of tweaks and changes to it to try to make the game actually read it and load it up. So I've been sort of technically save editing, I suppose, if you're going to look at it that way. I think everything should be the same. Based off all the numbers should be correct. It took me a long time, but all the numbers should be correct based off my previous videos. I've been using the videos and going through them and trying to make sure everything's the same. There may be a couple that were off, but all these numbers here should be correct. They were a pain in the ass to fill in. These ones I think are correct, although some of the numbers, for example science, I may have just typed in a standard number all the way down. I don't recall anymore. Yeah, you can see 82, 82. I just threw them in because I couldn't be bothered. I think they were about that number. There might have been some decimal points in there. Again, you can see 55. I think I must have I've typed in most of these numbers, but I've had to sort of go through and recreate it, and that's what's taken a long time. So it is approximately equal to what we had before. Our money should be the same. In fact, that should be identical because that was the easiest one to copy over. Our prestige is exactly the same. The date is the same. Yeah, all this stuff should be exactly the same. So behind the scenes it won't be quite the same, but that doesn't matter. It should work and proceed smoothly. So it's been a bit of a struggle to get here, and I have managed to barely salvage the save. I don't know how much longer this is going to go, so I'm going to try and complete this entire game in one more setting, and it's going to be a number of missions and a number of goes. I will spread it over a couple of episodes though. So without further ado, let's continue on. Get all these numbers out of my head and get the right numbers back in. So, short-term objectives, having a look at these. Now, the consensus was that I'm not going to get it before the end of 69. I'm just not going to get on the moon simply because of the number of issues that I've had getting this far in terms of failures at critical moments and being unable to rectify them with further failures, throwing spanners into the works. So my goal, which is too low on cash because we didn't make the prestige target for the previous, or the max prestige target for the previous one. So goal now is to get as close to 87,500 as we can, because an extra 15 grand on top of what we're currently doing. So we'd go from 5,000 profit to 20,000 profit per turn would be phenomenal. That would be exactly what we need. And I'm probably not going to get quite that close, but I'll get as close as I can. And so I'll be using up this entire 16, so 4 years, which is 71, I think. 7, 8, 9. So, okay, the end of 70, the beginning of 71, yeah. So then it's 71, 2, 3, and 74 is the end of the game. So we're in the second last 4-year period now, and we're not going to get in the moon during this period. It'll be in the next period that it happens. So, Lunar Gemini is something we're going to do pretty much because we're going to be using the Gemini direct ascent, as far as I can tell. It's just what we've got researched. It's what we can afford, I think, at this point. The Zond 5, the Zond 5 Lunar Bioscience flyby requires a Soyuz module. I'll show you that in a second. So that is unlikely to happen. We're going to have to eat 1,300 points just there. Bonus of 900 as well, so I suppose you could think of it, add those two together as how much we're eating, because we're missing out on that bonus, missed opportunity, as well as taking a hit. And then of course this one here, 25 employees, will mean we need to upgrade mission control, which is an additional cost, so we'll do that towards the end, if at all possible, and hire in a couple of extra people by Q4 in 1970 to gain an additional chunk of prestige. So let's go in and have a look at our things here. So we've got here a lunar probe, the Zond 5. For one, we don't even have a rocket to lift it. But yeah, it's 550 per season. It is going to require a... How do I get information? This game is fucking difficult. It's a Soyuz spacecraft design. We've got no stuff on the Soyuz at all. I wish I could see... a way to view the Soyuz. Let's have a look at 3. Soyuz. What's the reliability of this thing? It's not going to tell us. Because without opening up the... yeah. Huh. 20 grand to actually open up the Soyuz. Wow, that's expensive. Yeah, either way, it's outside our thing. We've got no R&D put in anything Soyuz. No Russian spacecraft at all have been done. We've gone down a very NASA route. Or the rockets have been the Russian, the USSR, but the actual craft themselves have been NASA. So we're not going to be able to get that one. The other one is wrong way. We're going to go into lunar probes and have a look at the... No, I was wrong. I actually do need to go to short duration. Circumlunar Gemini. Now this one here, we require... Does this work? That's the test. We need this one here. We need this badge. Circumlunar Gemini Lunar Flyby. It feels like there's too many lunars in there, but okay. That's what we need. It'll give us a few things, quite a bit of prestige as well. It doesn't say how much prestige it's going to give us. But this is going to be something we're going to need to open up. So, question is, what are we currently working on? Currently working on Project Gemini and the Gemini Direct Descent test in Earth orbit. I think doing that other one is going to be helpful as well. It's going to be expensive, but we should be able to open up all 3. How much is it going to cost is the question, because if we can get this open now, direct descent, what do we require? What do we require? I think uncrewed direct descent test. Yeah, no, I've gone through all this in the previous episode. So is this going to give us anything that... It's not actually going to give us anything. I don't know. This might be a different... yeah, this might be for the Gemini EOR. Let's just have a look here. What do we require? Manned lunar pass. I wonder if I could actually do this. What does this require? It requires a manned lunar orbital flight, which we can do, and a Langley light lander needs to be... Needs a Langley test flight and a few other flights like that. This is doable. Test in Earth orbit. It's probably too late now because I've opened up that other program, but we could maybe have done this one. Risky. But either way, we're going to continue with what we've got. So I'm going to need to do the Gemini, Circumlunar Gemini Lunar Flyby. Fuck me, that's a mouthful. And it doesn't say the prestige it's going to give me, but it's going to cost me 2.5 per season. I'm going to leave that for a little while and just work on what we're currently doing, because we're going to need to build up a bank supply, bank reserve here to actually launch them. It's not just about running down to 0 on your season profit. You actually need to have enough money to actually launch them as well, and sometimes in quick succession. So we might need quite a bit. So let's continue working on what we're currently doing. I know I've just been going back and talking quite a bit here, but it's important to get this all done. Now, the Gemini spacecraft is very, very good. The Geno target vehicle is decent. This one's obviously got a bit of work needs doing to it. Crewed spacecraft. So, have we got any crewed spacecraft people? Where are they all? Where are our crewed spacecraft people? Crewed spacecraft. They are currently training. Okay, one more season of training and then we'll stick them on to working on the current thing. So a lot of people are training at the moment. I may just need to skip this season. You guys, however, are doing bugger all at the moment. And I do want to save money because there are 21 guys here. That's 2,100 I'm going to spend just to train them all. So what I want to do is sort by morale level. Lowest morale. And you're low and you do need training. I can't even remember what I was training you as. I'm going to train you under mission operations because you've got low morale. I'm going to train you for... Looks like you've been doing propulsion, so I'll train you on propulsion again. You ended up doing a trajectory GNC in the end, so I'll actually train you on that just because I may not have enough people for that. Your morale's getting a bit better, so let's cross-train you into mission operations, I guess. You're good and your morale's up there, so 75 and higher. I think I'm going to leave for the time being. I'm not going to spend the money for those people, so I've spent 400. That'll be fine. I think we're just going to end turn. Is there any more? Ah, it's a rocket. I need to make sure I've got the right rocket programs to actually lift this. Doesn't say, does it? Ah, yes, okay, none of the rockets are capable of lifting this payload, and none of the ones I can open work. So I'm going to need to go in and upgrade the vehicle assembly building at some point. The question now is how much is it going to cost? It's going to cost double what it's currently in terms of maintenance, plus 3.5 is fine, I can pay that. I'm actually going to wait a season. I'm going to wait one season, I'll open it up next season, just get a tiny little bit of extra money in the bank here. Because none of our people... It's going to take time. No, I'm going to build it now. It's going to take a little while to upgrade anyway. It's going to take, what, 1 season? 4 seasons to upgrade. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I need to start that now. We need to get the top level. Okay, that's going to build up over the next year, and then we've got the big, huge VAB, which we can start building the bigger rockets in. You guys, how is your morale like? 73 is acceptable for now, and your training levels are acceptable. I think there's a fly on my screen right here at the moment. It's annoying the shit out of me. Fuck off. Okay. Okay, let's end the season and hope for the very, very best. I do want to end the season. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. And the Agena target vehicle, which we'll be using now. That's going to help get us a whole heap of additional assembly building. Probably actually should have launched something last season, but it doesn't matter. I'll do that now. I've got these guys now completely ready to start working on crewed spacecraft. So we're going to have to work on the Gemini Director Center module, and you guys are the best of the best. You're the cream of the crop. There's nobody in the world as good as you guys. You are the very, very best, and your job is to, holy shit, 10% at this level. It's just going to go down from there. It's just going to take a long time, but we can keep testing it. And give me 1 second. Okay, and back, and I've forgotten what I was talking about. Yeah, so these guys are going to level it up. It's going to take a long time, but we'll start working on that now. Now, what we want is to milk prestige. Now, let's have a look here. Where is prestige? I forget, it's been so long. Yeah, 12,000 is nice. Actually, let's just go back in, start from the front here. So I've got 1,500, not worth it, not worth the risk. 125, not worth the risk. 1,700, not worth the risk. 1,000, not worth the risk. 7,300. That's nice. So it's 2 grand for actually rendezvousing and joint manned launch and what, double rendezvous. Okay, so Gemini rendezvous and then just rendezvous from anybody. But it's also expensive because it's 2 separate rocket launches that I'm paying for. This one here is docking with the Agena target vehicle, so I can use potentially a cheaper rocket here. Lunar is 2 grand. And then this one is human rated is 3.7. So we've got 2 different rockets that we're launching here, and it's actually worth more prestige. Now we're docking with the Agena target vehicle. So this is effectively a probe that we're sending up, and we're practicing docking with it. So docking in space, if you've ever played Kerbal Space Program, is somewhat difficult and counterintuitive, and nobody knew how to do it. There was no practice. It was all theory up until that point. So they had to figure it out as they went along. So I still get Gemini rendezvous with a crewed vehicle, so I still get the 2,000 from here, which is good. I get an additional 2.5 grand for using the Agena target vehicle, and so I don't get this prestige because I've already done these badges before. Joint manned launch, again, I still get that one. Rendezvous, I get that, and docking, I get that as well. Okay, so this is a much more important thing, but it relies on several different vehicles. So that's a good one, 12 grand. This one here is 9.3, but how many are overlapping? Looks like none are overlapping. None of the badges are overlapping, so this is just generic. Sure, some of these badges should be overlapping, but they're not. It's interesting. Just generic prestige, because we've not done this one before. This one here, 1400 EVA and docking. Oh, I think I might have been looking. I'm confused at the moment. This has been a long session. Next, so these ones here, this is what I was completely missing. These ones here are not done. Joint manned launch rendezvous, so it's overlapping completely with the previous one. So this is actually less useful, especially considering it is, how many launches on it? It's 2 launches and an EVA on each. So that's quite an expensive launch. This one here is 14 grand. We've got here a launch, a dock, and an EVA, and then one of them is using a lunar as well, so it's the Agena target vehicle. This one's still high risk. So what we're going to do is we're going to queue up. We're going to queue up this one here. We're going to schedule this mission in, assuming that our Wait, what? Oh! Wait, Gemini docking with an ATV. What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Why oh why? Okay, I haven't done an orbital rendezvous with anything, and I haven't done a rendezvous between 2 crewed spacecraft. Aha! That's interesting. That's interesting. So it's more difficult because we haven't actually done it before. Somehow, some way, it's more difficult. So that's the question. So it's encouraging me. Ooh, that's an interesting question. You know what? I've been talking for 18 minutes here. This is going to be a very... In fact, no, let's do it. Let's push in and do something. We're going to do something. We're not going to risk it. We've got time. So I am going to do this. I was going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here, but I realised after a long time and no launches, it might be just a tad boring. So we're going to spend shit tons of money. Assuming we can afford this. Assemble it now. Let's put our best candidates in. Mindy Milby, I believe, was our assistant flight director. I think there's one lady on there. Maybe I'm training the other lady, I'm not sure. Either way, Mindy Milby, you're pretty decent. You are our main flight director. All the other people are correct. That's good. Confirm the assignments now. Let's put our best candidates in. Your piloting is decent, actually. I'll put you in. Do we need leadership for anything? Fitness and piloting look like the only 2 skills being used here. But of course, the game only accounts for leadership here. So fitness and piloting. She has better piloting, slightly worse fitness. I'm actually going to put Cara Bros in just because that slightly higher piloting I think is more important. I take that back. Fitness is more important in everything except for re-entry preparations and a few others. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put in Aaron Fitzgerald. Okay, these are our people. It should be good. If it's not, then we may well have lost completely. But we're going to launch that up. We're going to hope for the very best. You guys are there. One astronaut. Let's go. And of course, this one leveling up for now. For now, it's quick. It's going to slow down really quickly, though. And so we're going to be struggling around the 60% mark just to get past the end. Okay, let's launch this mission and hope that we don't crash and burn, because I can't afford to burn 4,000 experience, 4 astronaut lives, and a shit ton of money because we're down to virtually nothing. Let's launch this mission and hope that we succeed. Okay, that was somewhat stressful. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time there. We cannot afford any failures at this critical junction. Would pretty much end the entire run. But we've done it. We've done a whole range of good ones there. We got 7,500 prestige, which is well on our way. We've got 14 more turns until the end. And if we keep on getting stuff like this, we'll be good. Problem is money, of course. We are exceedingly short on cash. It's going to take 3 more turns before I can even afford to launch another one like that. Graduated from science training. Giving you a boost of prestige. Excellent. That's what we need. We need good events like that. I can't afford to have any more bad events. Now I have to put you somewhere. Somewhere. Space probe. Let's have a look. What are you good at? Yeah, you're pretty good. You're not that spectacular. There's no other space probey things to actually put you on. R&D, max R&D. So that can't get any better by R&D. In fact, I think you can see my work here. I just copied and pasted the numbers across when I was recreating that save file. This one appears to have not been corrupted at all, which is great. What are we going to do with you? We've got some people who are coming out of training now who need a job on something. I suppose a lunar probe's worth anything. We just don't have the cash for it is a problem. I need to save my money as much as possible. Lunar impactors would be good. Lunar orbiter program. Is there much prestige in this? Lunar orbiter, mapping the lunar surface, level 2, structure of the moon, level 2, micrometeors. There are a few things I can get done here. How much is this program going to cost to open though? It's 424 per season. It's going to cost me $4,000 to open, which will set us back. I think we're going to get it because we can actually use the lunar rocket here. If we R&D our components here and put in this bloke to start building it up now, let's have a look here. It's only 26%, which has given us a small boost from the other probes we've done. It could have been as low as 3, but maximum R&D reliability is 84, which is not spectacular, but it should be good enough. And it's going to be a 6.4% improvement from just one guy. So as more of them come out of here, actually, let's have a quick look at who else is on space probes. You guys are there. You can only go up an extra... Yeah, it's not even... What I'm actually going to do is put you on this one. And where are we going? Bottom this one here. I'm actually going to send all of you guys working on this, because there's a smidge of extra prestige I can get here. Let's have a quick look at exactly how much prestige it's going to give me. 4,000. Yeah, it's good enough. It's not costing me a huge amount. It's probably not the most cost-effective prestige I could have got, but an extra 4,000 for very low risk, and what's going to be a relatively cheap launch in the grand scheme of things. We've got it's $4,500 to Mega Space Bucks to actually launch that. So the amount we're making in one season will pay for that once we eventually get the thing up, and it's going to cost us a couple of seasons to actually get that far. I mean, I could add up all the costs, but let's just be realistic. 16.3%. It's going to be up to 42 after this. I think it will launch when we get to about 80 and just hope for the best. With that, I think I'm actually going to call this episode. It's gone on for a little bit. It's hard to tell exactly how long these episodes go because I do speed up the actual launches, but I've been recording for about 30 minutes now. So take care, guys. I'm back, and I'm going to keep plowing through this and try to avoid having to save and turn off the game so we can avoid any more major save crashes, because I don't think I've got it in me to repair the save one more time. Not if it's as bad as it was. So take care, guys. This has been Buzz Aldrin's Space Program Manager on Buzzhard mode. So I'll see you next time.